Yeah. Thank you, Professor Park. This presentation analyzed the behavior hypothesis that is a positive relationship between financial literacy and oh, okay. Mm. And life insurance demand. Second discussant is Miss Soyoung Lim at Sungkyunkwan University in Korea.
Uh, Thank you for great presentation, Professor Park. And this paper examines how financial literacy affects the life insurance demand using U.S. survey data. And as it mentioned on slide number 2, education has been posited as a relevant factor in insurance demand. And there are a lot of previous literature about insurance demand and I mean relationship between insurance demand and education. And personally, I'm quite interested in examining the relationship between financial literacy and microinsurance demand in developing countries. And as far as I read, um, there is a positive and also negative significant result in developing country about the microinsurance demand and financial literacy. But as Professor Park mentioned, there is not many research papers about the relationship between financial literacy and life insurance. And I think that I think this topic is very interesting and also kind of special things. And um, uh, as mentioned on the result, I could find, I mean, Professor Park said that there is a different result between a poverty group and also the rich group. And about the subjective knowledge, I wonder that, I mean, in my view, subjective knowledge may relate it to overconfidence about when people buy an insurance, and if they think that I mean, if they have enough subjective knowledge, they could buy uh, okay, this is the right insurance product that I need. And I think maybe this kind of things can connect to overconfidence. And and I would like to ask about the different results about poverty group and rich group. And I would like to know uh, I would like to ask about how increase the insurance demand between two different groups. This one is my question. And do you have any idea about it?
So actually, about thank you for a nice discussion. About the poverty group, I think like so it's insurance. What kind of good is this, right? When you don't have money for your food and house, we really can't think of insurance, and that's the actually I have one study the relationship in that study I tested the relationship between non-life insurance demand and cultural effect, and when it comes to the relationship between cultural effect and insurance demand for the poverty, like very poor countries, there was no relationship whatsoever. The income was kind of driving everything. The GDP and insurance demand has a very strong relationship, very dominant relationship. So you have to have enough things to eat and consume. After that, you start to think about how to manage my risk. So, but when it comes to the rich countries, it's related with it. It kind of becomes your choice whether I'm risk averse or do I need to the needs and financial literacy could be highly related because I will know whether I need this risk or not. All these things kind of mingle together and determine the final consumption. So if we really think, in my opinion, if we really think this kind of life insurance or health insurance is really necessary for poverty group, maybe make it like a default choice, like just give it to them, like as a kind of social, insurance instead of kind of, because I don't, I haven't really thought that much about this thing, but insurance is not the first thing that you will think of when you are in really poor, kind of a situation. So for micro insurance and things like that, probably make it very cheap and simple and just give it out somehow and make it as a kind of very basic social insurance. Then the life insurance penetration for these groups probably will increase. Otherwise, I think this is kind of that first thing. I mean, you have to buy food first instead of insurance. That was my that's my opinion. Yeah. Okay. Any questions from Professor Benny? I'm sorry, Benny Kwiski and Mariko. Do you have any questions? Really? Okay.
Okay, time to 5 p.m. So we should conclude this session. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.